Hey gamers, today we're going to look at Burano. Let's check it out. There is a ton of setup for this game, so let me just jump right into it. First off, you're taking this little grid here and put it on the board. Then you're going to grab a random cube from the bag here and place it anywhere around that fountain, like so. You're going to take all these little hut tiles that are on their white thing, shuffle them up, and then put 3 out to each island. You're going to take these little market tiles, there's only 4 of them, put in any order, put 2 over here and 2 over there. You're also going to put these little, this is called the lace making factory here, and you're going to arrange these little Tetris pieces depending on the number of players you have. Now, you can make up your own, but you have to follow these certain rules as well. But I do suggest you use one of these 2 setups when playing the game. 2 decks of cards you're shuffling would be, one is the fish deck. You're going to lay out 3 here. And then these are bonus cards. You're going to lay out 4 of them here. On the sideboard, you're going to take these little paint bucket symbols, shuffle them up, and place 2 in each section there. You're going to put your little time marker right here on the 0 and then move it around for every round. You're going to put these little tokens here, starting with spring, then summer, then fall, then last winter. You're also going to divide all these roof tiles by the emblem on the back. So there are 4 different stacks here. You'll stack them up here. Each player will grab 3 of these. The only rule is they can't be 3 of the same type. So they couldn't just pick 3 off the top here and move on. They had to pick 3 different types. Speaking of your player board, you're going to start with those 3 roof types I spoke about earlier. You're going to have a little turn tracker here. Basically, it's how many actions you can take in a row. You'll put one of your little pieces here. You'll have this privilege track here. You'll take another one of your little pieces and put it at the 1 that's highlighted there. Everyone starts the game with 3 coins. They're also going to start with 18 bricks. That's 3 of each color there. They're going to make a little pyramid. I'll show you how that works in a minute. And the game says you have about 1 minute to make your pyramid, and I'll explain what they mean by that. Also, you're going to snap in these 4 little pieces in any order. And this is what makes the game a little bit different, because these 4 pieces are all different in some way, shape, fashion, or form. So where you snap them in will make the game different. Now, the first player will have 3 empty spaces in the A section. And that's where this little disc with the little red numbers there will appear. So these 3 red numbers will point to those empty spaces, and the first person on your player board here will start right there. So that's what it would look for player 1. For player 2, they'll have all of the B section open, and of course their red arrows will point that way. And as you see, for player 3, they'll have this open. Player 4 will have this open. Also, on the player board, they will have their ship in that designated area. So for instance, as you see here, I have my red ship on island A. So second player will be on B, third player will be on C, and fourth player will be on island D, starting off with their ship. At the start of the game, what players are going to do is they're going to build up a pyramid on this bottom row here with 9 cubes at the bottom, 4 cubes on top of that, and 1 cube on top of that. Each one has about 9 minutes, and what they're going to be taking is these different cubes, put them in any order they want. It doesn't really matter what they do. Well, I mean, it kind of does matter, but not for this training step. So it would look like that. The first row would look like that. The second row would look like this, and the third one like that, let's say. And that's how it would start. Now again, each player has 1 minute to make their pyramid. And for any cubes you have left over after building your full pyramid, you're going to get coins for each one. So in this case, I would get 4 coins. And every player would start with 4 additional coins at the beginning of the round. So instead of 3, you're actually going to be starting off with 7 coins in the game. The game goes over 4 seasons. Every time you move a season, you'll just remove this little tile from it. And each player is going to get up to 4 turns each when it's spring and summer. But when we get down to the autumn and winter stages of the game, they're only going to get 3 turns each. And it's notated by what you see here. Now, for each of the players' turn, they can take up to 4 actions if they want to. The first action they take will net them a coin, so they'll get 1 coin for their action. The second one will cost them 3. The third action would cost them an additional 3 coins. And the fourth action, if they wanted to take it, would cost them an additional 4 coins. As long as they have the money, they're welcome to spend it all taking additional turns. If you need money and you don't have it, you can also use a privilege and move it down. That would count as a coin. So here's some of the actions you can take. First off would be to ready a building. What you're going to do is take a building off of this stack. And at the very beginning, it has to be this top one here. And then you'll ready it on your board. You have 3 little spaces right here you can ready it. If that were my first action, I would have gained a coin. If I want to take another action, I would spend 3 coins and maybe ready another one. Now at this point, I can ready any one of the number of these because they are open to me. I can't grab anything underneath here because they're not free. But let's say that I took this one next and readied it. Well, next time I could take any one of these or this one on the corner because there's no cube on top of it. As long as there's not a cube on top of it, you can ready that building for the next round. And of course, that's one of the actions you can do. Now, when you're choosing these cubes, it's going to be important because whatever color cube you choose is going to match one of these 3 additional actions you're going to do once you play that cube into the city. And as I said earlier, at the end of every round, these tiles will switch up every round. So the choices will be different. So you want to keep in mind, like if I was using a blue cube, well, blue in this case is going to work at the lace factory. Whereas if I was to use a yellow, that would be a boating action. And if I was to take either a green or a pink, this emblem, this turn, that would be a earning action. Now I'll go through what each one of the actions mean, but that's what it means when you place that color cube, you'll match it up against these actions here. If you don't have a color that you really want on there, you may also spend a privilege on your privilege track to gain any one type of cube you want from the supply. Now, in placing a building, there's just a few rules you need to keep in mind. First one is it must be a building that you have already readied on your board. It couldn't be one straight from the pyramid. So I couldn't take this one straight off the pyramid and plant it. It'd have to be one of these. The second rule would be I will put this on a spot that is next to or adjacent to another cube. So I could put it here, 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 or here, like so. Once I do that, then I can take the corresponding action from the sideboard there, which again, if you remember, orange in this case was putting people out into the lace factory. Now, another action you can take when building is to take one of your roof tiles and play it on top of these 2 buildings. Now, as you see here, the colors must match. They must match. So my blue would have to go there, my orange would have to go there. And they match by putting them vertically or horizontally on the game mat here. So for example, if I had it here, I could not put a building and stretch it like that. That would not work. Or if there was a previous building here and I wanted to put down, let's say, another building like that, I had a green and a green like that, and oh, this is a green and a green. Can I lay this building on top of that one? No, I could not. You also cannot lay a third roof onto this. So once you get to 3 levels on any cubes in the city, you may not stack roofs on them. Another rule while placing cubes on other rooftops here, as you see, the colors here don't have to match. I can put one here if I wanted to, but if I wanted to get a little bonus, if this blue cube goes on top of this blue roof, then that would give me a bonus of 1 prestige, and I would just move up the prestige track on my player board. What do each one of these roof tiles give you? Well, this one's pretty simple. It gives you 4 victory points when you place it. Something like this gives you victory points in your fountain. Fountain are little empty spaces that you have on your player board. When removing these type of men from your player board, you'll see fountains like there's one. Ones are exposed there, and there's the other one. So if I can have, and there's another one there, if I have all 4 men taken off my bounty, then I would get that many points. If I see 1 fountain, it's 2 victory points. 2 fountains would be 3. 3 would be 5 points, and all 5 would give me 9 points. So it just depends on how many fountains you have free in your area. These other 2 happen to deal with islands you control and lace factory areas you control. So just real quick, I'll show what that means. Eventually, somewhere in the game, you're going to have people on these islands. And if you have the majority and 1, 2, or 3 islands, you're going to score 2, 5, or 9 points. Again, in the lace factory, it's talking about these sections out here. So however many of these colored sections you had, the green, the yellow, red, if you had 1, 2, or 3 of those sections controlled, then you would also receive X amount of victory points. So now let's talk about what each one of these 3 actions do when you play a cube matching those color paints at the top there. So the first one we're going to talk about is sailing. When you go sailing, your ship can travel from this area to any of the white lines of the next available stop. So I could go to this island, or to the market. If I were here, I could go to that market, or this island, or this island. You just follow the white lines there. It doesn't matter if there are other players on that island with you. You can share room with other players, but the action you decide to take does matter, because looking at your player board, so since I'm first player, I'm starting on island A, and I want to go to a place that has green, white, and pink. Well, if I look over here, this one has none of the colors. That would not be a good island to go to. But if I went down here, green, orange, and pink, ooh, that's 2 out of 3, not bad. Dang, if I had had that white, I'd have had 3 matching one. Well, for one privilege that you can utilize on your personal board privilege track, you can switch out one hut for another colored hut. So in this case, now I have the green, white, pink I want, and I move there. Now this is very important because however many ones that you have matching here will give you that amount of fish cards in the game. It'll also allow you to take workers off your player board and place them on the island. If 1 or 2 of the huts match, you're just going to take one of your little men here and place them on the island. And in this case, if all 3 match, then you get to place 2 men on this island. Now zooming in here, I want to show you a little example. What if green already had 2 people on this island? Well, when you put your 2 people on this island, because remember, I had all 3 match up, then automatically green and any other players who are there must remove one of their men from that island and back onto their player board. Now, don't feel too bad for them, because they're going to both receive 2 coins for each man they have to remove back. This way, it may establish a complete majority. Even if there was only 1 green, he would have no choice. If red was putting people there, even if it was 1 person they had to put, because let's say only 2 of these matched, well then green and any other players would have to remove one of their men, receive 2 coins, and then that would be a new leader, perhaps, on the island. When removing men from your player board, you're going to remove this number 1 symbol here first, and then any adjoining one second. So I had to remove 2, I'd remove 2. At the end of my turn, then I would turn this dial so that 1 matches the next person in line. And thereby, I have established 3 more red arrows, which are pointing to 3 different colors. Now it's pink, blue, and yellow. And that would be for any additional turns I would have in the future, whether I go to any more islands or the Laceworks. But before I get ahead of myself, I also got to let you know that now is the time where you can pick up to, in our case, 3 fish cards. And fish cards come in all different shapes and sizes there of different fish. Some of them are the same, some are different. You get to decide which ones you want to take. Once you take one, another one will come out, and you can decide if you want to take that one or another one, or maybe you just want to take all 3. Whatever the case. Remember, you can take as many fish cards as you have huts matching on that island. Afterwards, you'll just deal out some more for the next player. Besides sailing to islands, another thing you can do is sail to one of these 2 markets. When you make it to the market, if you meet its quota by this one, hey, if you can give me 1 card, I'll give you 2 victory points. If you give me 2 that aren't matching, I'll give you 4. 3 that don't match, 4 that don't match, I'll give you 8. So maybe I do have 1, 2, 3, 4 that don't match. I'll cash all those in and receive 8 victory points. Or this one over here says, hey, if you got 2 pair that don't match, that match, you get 5. If you got 2 different type pair, that's 10. 3 different type pair, that's 15. The other ones will do something different as well, but either time you use one of the market areas, let's say I use this one and I cash these cards in. First off, these cards would go on my player board, and if you see right here, there's a little spot for the fish. I can put that down there, and I do that because there are some in-game cards which then net you points over the fish that you've caught and cashed into the market. But once I've done that, I return back to the market here. I take this tile and I shove it all the way over here. So now there's 3 over there and 1 over here. Anytime you utilize one of these market areas, that stall will then move straight over to the other spot of the island. So there is a case where you could have all 4 over on one side if people were just using this market stall after a while. That's it for fishing. Let's go into the Laceworks. If you're to pick any cubes of this color or any matching color that they have up here, you're going to send workers to the lace factory. Now the same rule applies when taking people from your board. What you're going to do, as many people as you can put in the lace factory that is allowed to you, you're going to remove those people from your wheel here, turn that new number 1, matching the other worker there and having the arrows point in different colors there, and then take these and basically flip them to their female side as they go work in the lace works. But before I do that, how would I know which colors to put these people in? Well, as you see here, the 3 colors that were available before taking these 2 people were pink, blue, and yellow. So that's where I can take these people here, is in the pink, blue, and yellow section. I can take up to 3 of them if I so choose to do so. Looking at the lace factory, there's the pink, blue, and yellow. Now, unfortunately, I will not be able to place one in yellow because it is not connected to pink or blue. And all of these people must touch each other on the board. So I'd probably just get to do that one and that one. I could not do a yellow one because my train hasn't reached there yet. Now, if you were able to cover any one of these little areas that show the coin emblem, you'll also receive a coin. And if you wanted to, let's say that green player had someone here and I really wanted to get into blue so that next time I can maybe get majority. Well, spending another privilege on your privilege track will allow you to boot whatever worker was there and then put your player there. This person goes back to that color player's wheel, and just like the islands, they will get 2 victory points for this returning player. One other thing about the lace factory is at the end of every round, you'll have a chance to score some victory points in the lace factory. If you can produce the cubes matching the colors that these people are on, so I need 1 blue and 2 pink. Well, I only have in my player board a pink and a blue. If I had all 3, that'd be awesome, because each one of these cubes would count for 2 victory points as I cash them in. I'd also get what's called a union bonus for having so many together. And the book will tell you what that bonus is depending on how many people you have connected together. So if I had 9 people all bunched them together, that's an additional 21 points at the end of the round. The last action I want to talk about is earnings. Of course, if you pick a cube matching any of the 2 colors that are here during that round, you get some money. How this works is you'll count out the open money spaces on your board from players that have left your wheel. So in this case, I would get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coin. Now, in addition to that, I could also take players out of the lace factory or off islands. If I think I was going to win an island, I already had the majority of it, maybe I pull this guy from the island, put him down, and I can grab 2 more additional coin and on top of the earnings that I've already gotten. And again, if you remember, you can always spend these privileges here to get more money as well. Once you complete all the rounds for that season, it's time to go to in-game cleanup. And what you're going to do is follow all the steps on this board. The first one is to put up any cubes and to rebuild your tower. Now, sometimes you may not have enough cubes to build your tower completely, but if you had extra cubes, of course, you cash them in for coin. And remember, you can always use one privilege on your privilege track to grab additional cubes if you need them for the next round. Secondly, you would score all the islands. For people who have majority on 1, 2, or 3 of the islands on the board, they can earn some victory points, either 2, 3, or 4. Same thing in the lace factory. Like I told you, at the end of the round, that's where you would pay cubes matching that color. You would get 2 victory points per cube that you gave up. In addition to that, you would also be able to score that union bonus. Now remember, if you wanted to, you could use privilege points again to get any cubes you want of that color to score some more victory points during this round. You can always use privilege points at any time during the game. Secondly, what you're going to do is you're going to mix up all of the paint tokens. So again, I would come down here, take all these paint tokens, shuffle them around, and put them in different spots for the next season. So now the colors mean something different in each round. After that, I would gain cubes according to the field areas on my player board. So for example, looking on my board, it looks like I'm going to grab a blue, a yellow, an orange, a green, and a second orange. I would grab those from the supply, move them over to my pyramid, and build it back up. Again, any extra I would have after completing my pyramid would be discarded in exchange for coin. Next, all players are allowed to take 1 or all 3 of their roofs and either discard them or exchange them with other ones. And then finally, the first player marker is passed to the next player in turn, and then you go into the next phase, which is summer. The game ends after the 4 rounds when everyone has taken either their 4 or, like I said in the last 2 seasons, 3 turns, and then you add up all your victory points. Victory points can be bought through coin. For every leftover privilege point you have, you'll exchange that for a coin, and for every 5 coins you have, that counts as 1 victory point. Also, any unused fish cards that you have in your hand, you didn't get to the market yet, they each are worth 1 victory point each, as well as any privilege cards you got in the game. Now, I forgot to mention how you get these privilege cards. Remember when I was laying down this roof and it matched the blue and orange? When you do that, on top of scoring these victory points here, you also get your choice of going up your privilege track twice, and getting more privilege, or grabbing one of these privilege cards. These privilege cards can be end of the game rewards or little cheats in the game. So, for instance, this one, all those fish that you saw at the market, that's why you want to keep them. So for any one that matches one of those 4 icons, you'll get 2 victory points each. Or this one just gives you 9 victory points. Or this one automatically lets you boot people out without spending privilege. You can look at the rule book to see what each one of them do, but they are either in-game points or little cheats that you can get in the game. After that, whoever has the most victory points wins. Final thoughts. What do I think about the game? Well, I think no one's done a good review on it until now. That's right. Pat myself on the back. When I got this game, I was very excited about it. Seems like a game right up my alley. I thought, oh, this is a midweight game. Not a midweight game. Very heavy game. Not a bad game either. There are no good reviews on it. Seriously, I spent a few minutes looking over the rule book and I said, guys, let's just watch the video. We tried to find a video. No one's video talks about setup. No one's video really covered the rules that much. Everyone's video was just like hodgepodge memories they had about the game and the overall gist of it. And they're terrible. They are horrendous. So, I think my nephews all went to get something to eat. One took a shower. I sat and read the rule book for about 30 minutes and said, I think we got it. But still, we were stumbling through it. And that's what you're going to do with this game. You're going to stumble through it the first time. On paper, it seems pretty simple. And in fact, the rule book is very simple to understand. So I wasn't confused at all reading it. It just takes a while in gameplay to remember certain things. We had to start and stop the game so many times. I was like, wait a minute, I think you get this when I got the number of fishermen that you can put on the island wrong the first time we played. Second time we played, I forgot to add the privilege bonus. You can get 2 privilege. I thought it was just a privilege card. And I forgot you could also gain 2 privilege. We're like, wow, gaining privilege is super hard in this game. Yeah, it is when you're not reading the rules right. But there's just a lot to remember in here. It's not a bad game. I cannot recommend this, though, with people who have analysis paralysis. A lot of my gaming group, outside of my nephews, just about everyone in my gaming group, suffers from massive AP. I would never bring this game out for them. There's just too many choices. It would take, a game here would take, I don't know how much it says here. It says 9 to 120 minutes. That means 240 minutes. It would literally take 4 hours probably for my gaming group to make it through this game because it would just melt their brain. And I'll be honest, there were times I kind of paused to see what I could do, but not that much. I knew what I wanted to do. I was just trying to figure out the how and the best way. Stacking those cubes. Everything makes, I mean, you make your own decisions, but boy, the game forces you to think 9 steps ahead of what you're doing, because where those cubes are placed, like, oh, why did I put the green cube there? I needed it higher. Oh, I'll never get to do this action. I really need income or whatever it is. It's great though. It's so wonderful. And you feel like if you only use 1 turn just to get a coin, you feel like you wasted your turn. You want to take 4 actions in that 1 turn or get the maximum you can. And at first I thought, wow, only 3 for fall and winter? That's dumb. I wish we had 4. Nah, by then you're basically a well-oiled machine. You got people all over the board at this point. And so in 3 rounds, you can basically get anything else you need done. I mean, obviously there's always more I could do, but I didn't feel like the game ended too soon. I feel like it ended just right and didn't overstay its welcome. Me personally, I enjoy the game. Again, can't recommend it if you have analysis paralysis. Clear away from this. I want to play this with my board game group. I don't think I ever will, because they can't handle choices. They have trouble with simple choices. They'll definitely melt their brains over this one. But as long as my nephews still enjoy it, which they did, then we'll still play it. And I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll find someone else without AP who will play it with me. All right, gamers, that's it for now. Till next time, game on!